Well, we're at the break point in the Big East tournament. No games right now, so we're able to storm the court a little bit. Here with Craig Hoffman from OrangeFizz.net. I'm John Garcia Jr. with CuseNation.com. Syracuse does it again. They managed to beat UConn 3 times this season, but this one counted a little bit more than the other ones.
Absolutely. And Syracuse, as you say, does it again. 5-0 now in one possession games, 6-0 in games decided by 5 points or less. It really is amazing how well Syracuse plays in tight games, and that comes back to coaching. Jim Boeheim obviously knows what he's doing.
Although he didn't win Coach of the Year.
It's a travesty, absolute travesty to me that Jim Boeheim didn't win Coach of the Year, but it just shows you nothing rattles this team. Down the stretch, they executed, and it's a different guy every time. Tonight, the play that no one is going to talk about was made by Brandon Triche. C.J. Fair was at about 4.8 on the 5 seconds count before Brandon Triche was able to make a second cut, never gave up on the play, got open, and then actually got the ball off to Deion Waiters, who put one through. A nice dunk that didn't count at the end.
It counted. We'll say
it counted. It counted for SportsCenter tonight.
Yeah.
Syracuse able to pull it out again. And as you said, beating a team 3 times in a year, absolutely no joke.
Yeah, and there was a lot of things to take from this game. Obviously, Deion Waiters is closer to the Deion Waiters at the beginning of the season that we all kind of got spoiled by. James Sutherland breaks out of his slump in a hurry and shoots a couple of big threes, preserves the lead, and even has the free throws to seal the game at the end. But moving forward, obviously the next game was Cincinnati versus Georgetown, and they went to double overtime, which gave people a little bit of jarred their memory from the Syracuse UConn 6 overtime game in the Big East tournament. You were sitting press row.
I was sitting there going, is this here we go again?
Yeah, you're sitting press row. What did you take from the game? Cincinnati pulled it out, so that's who Syracuse will face tomorrow at 7 o'clock. What's your take on those guys?
Cincinnati's got a really interesting roster. They've got a lot of guards, a lot of height. They don't have really a true point. I guess Kashmir Wright's kind of their closest thing to a true point, but he's really the guy who can slash, get to the rim. They don't, so they've got that kind of guy, Deion Dixon, another slashing type, a lot of really good guys on the perimeter, and then Yancey Gates inside. What they don't have is a guy like a Chris Joseph, a true 3, and that's probably why Chris had 17 points the first time they played.
Right.
So that's going to be an interesting matchup to watch, is whoever decides to guard Chris Joseph, especially since Chris spent a lot of time in the post tonight. You wonder if they're going to go back to that. Cincinnati doesn't have a whole lot of size. They have bulk. The guys they have, the guards like Dixon and Kilpatrick and all those kind of guys, they're big guards in terms of bulk, and obviously Yancey Gates inside is just a mammoth of a human being, but he is only 6'8",
and it hurts their depth too. Because really behind him, there's not a whole lot.
They have nothing coming off the bench, and that's of course Syracuse's big thing this year is the amount of depth they have. And if all of their guys aren't on, they're not going to win. Georgetown was up the majority of that game. Yancey Gates wasn't doing anything. All of a sudden, he turns it on the last 10 minutes in overtime, and they're able to pull it out. And Gates had just a monstrous final, 20 minutes.
With the overtimes.
Factor in the 2 overtimes in the last 10 minutes of regulation. Just monstrous performance from Yancey Gates. Tip-ins, getting rebounds. Played really great defense on Henry Sims, too. Had a hell of a game for Georgetown. But at the end of the day, he just on about 3 key possessions, Yancey Gates had steals, and he came around. Sims thought he had post position, came around, picked it off. Cincinnati goes the other way.
Another Syracuse for Louisville is about to take the court in some interesting uniforms. Little orange there. You'll see the one right here in a second. But Syracuse fans remember, the Cincinnati game that the first time around was right after the Notre Dame game, which everybody knows is the only loss, so there was no Fat Mello last time. So Yancey Gates was a problem for Syracuse. He had a double-double. Do you envision the same type of thing, or with Fat Mello, is it that much different?
Well, it's an enormous difference, especially you think of, who was guarding Yancey Gates? And it became Baikita, obviously the zone, so it's different guys as he moves around. But it's a lot of Baikita, and what does Baikita lack? Bulk. So Fat Mello has that bulk inside. You wonder if C.J. Fair and Raheem Christmas, they're going to get a shot in certain situations to be guarding Gates. Obviously more Christmas than Fair. But that's I think, you can't really, it's pointless to expand on it, just to go, Fat Mello makes enormous difference.
We know that.
Really all you need to know.
Yeah, and let's be honest, another thing we know is that Syracuse should win this game. They beat them the first time without Fat Mello, who anchors that 2-3 zone.
And
we all know
that game was on the road, too.
It was on the road. It was right after their first loss, so there was really a lot of reasons for them to lose that game. They go out and win that road game. And most people were expecting Georgetown to beat Cincinnati to bring back the Syracuse-Georgetown thing at least one last time, potentially. So Syracuse should win this game. Chris Joseph should be able to get back on track, and maybe a guy like C.J. Fair, who it revealed after the game that he was a little ill during the game, maybe he can get back on track, feel a little bit better, and Syracuse can really use that depth to really just outrun and outplay Cincinnati.
Yeah, and there was another tweet that we saw from Jim Boeheim today. Okay, you just went 30-1 in the regular season, so changing your starting lineup makes complete total sense.
Of course.
That's what Jim Boeheim did today. He put C.J. Fair in the starting lineup. That put Rock Christmas in the backup center spot that Mike Keita is accustomed to. You know, Christmas was playing, what, 45 seconds at the beginning of the game and then coming out anyway. So it doesn't really make a difference. And Christmas really played well today. They get that kind of production from Christmas moving forward, and then C.J. Fair gets back healthy. As you said, ill today, not an injury, just literal, health.
And he looked it today. You could tell. Some of those jump shots he wasn't out all the legs.
When you don't wear your headband because that makes you feel dizzy, you're probably a little sick.
CJ with no headband is just weird.
Yeah, so that was weird for multiple reasons. And so as long as he gets healthy, we figure they'll be all right. And move on, hopefully, to Saturday night and another chance of the Big East title.
Which is something Syracuse hasn't been able to do, obviously, recently, and even with the target on their back like they do this year. So they're progressing, things are looking good right now, the team's healthy, and the depth is there against a team that doesn't have depth in Cincinnati. So we'll see what Syracuse can do tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. For Craig Hoffman, I'm John Garcia Jr.